Hello there and welcome to Battle at Sephora. I did one of these videos earlier this year with drugstore products, but in lieu of the Sephora savings event, which is coming up here, I thought this would be the best way and most fun way for me to give you my recommendations of what to buy and what not to buy. So on each half of my face, I'm going to be using comparable products and we will see which one performs better. I definitely have some strong opinions on some of these, and others I'm gonna leave it up to you as the viewer because I think there are some that are very comparable. So let's get started. I only have one eyeshadow base that I love that's sold at Sephora. It's the NARS Smudge Proof Eye Base. So I already applied that. Let's go in with something on the lips to plump and treat them. I'm going to be using on this half the Ole Henriksen. This is the Pout Preserve Peptide Lip Treatment. I love this. And then they came out with these shimmer shades. This is the strawberry shimmer one. What is it called? Strawberry Sorbet Glimmer. And this, it smells like strawberry. It has just a little bit of shimmer. It's not super apparent, but I love how these make the lips feel and look. On the other side, this is brand new from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Big Lip Plump, and this is a new scent and shade. This is Strawberry Chocolate. I love the packaging. Charlotte always outdoes herself with packaging. This has a doe foot applicator, and this does have a little bit of shimmer also. And you can see this also has just a hint more pink. But this, well, I'll tell you as we go along. There's definitely a different feeling on each side of the lip. And we're gonna see if one side looks plumper than the other when we get done. Let's go next to foundation because this is one of those days when I definitely need some makeup on my face. You know, we just have those days. So on the right side, I'm going to be applying the Natasha Denona High Glam Foundation. I have YP8. This is a little dark now for me, even though I have a little sunless tanner on. So I did have to mix in just a white mixing base, but this does not change the formula or how it performs. On the left side, I am going to be applying a tried and true favorite. This is the Dior Forever Matte Foundation. I'm mixing 3WO and 1.5W. I generally have my sunless tan shade, my winter pale shade, and then I can mix and match throughout the year. Now, something I'm experimenting with the Natasha Denona is applying with my fingers. One of you told me this is how you have been loving this foundation. I have been struggling with this foundation. So I thought, let's try this application with the fingers and let's see if it makes a difference. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep that line down the center of my face, but I don't want it to be too crazy because I actually have a meeting I have to go to this afternoon. On this side, let's do the Dior. Oh, I wasn't really planning on applying this with my fingers, but hey, we'll just start off with my fingers and then I'll press it in. I do generally like this foundation with a brush, but let's just apply it with the fingers to start. Okay, so side by side, first applied, I think there are a lot of similarities. This one, even though it is a matte foundation, it's not a flat matte and it still has a little hint of glow that will settle down. We're gonna let this settle down, but I don't know if you can tell. I mean, I did go back and add a little more on this side, but I still have some spots peeking through. On this side, it's a lot more even as far as the coverage goes. So I'm gonna, again, just kind of let these two sit and sink in, and then we'll see if we need to go back and add some more when it's time to add concealer and all that. All right, let's go back to the eyes. And on the right side, I have a brand new palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is called the Embers palette. Look at these gorgeous shades. This is bringing back memories of the Mario. I don't know if any of you remember the Makeup by Mario collab with Anastasia Beverly Hills years ago. Love this. On my left side, I am going to use this new palette from Lawless. It's called the Dreamy Daisy, and I love this. Okay, so I've only used this ABH palette once. I've used this several times. I love them both. So I think this is a case where it just depends on if you prefer a whole palette with more of similar tones, or if you want a palette with some colors that can give you some options. So before we get into either one of those though, because they don't have a brow bone highlight shade, I wanted to bring in this new palette from Natasha Denona. I've talked about this before. I'll link my video using it. But this is the Soft Sculpt palette. I love this. This is a great basic, lots and lots of neutrals, a little more cooler leaning. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here on both eyes for a brow bone highlight. On the right side, since I'm using this palette, I'm gonna try to choose colors that are very similar to what I can get from the Dreamy Daisy palette. So I'm gonna do a combination of this center shade and this kind of cooler taupe shade. I love that they included both of those tones because it does give you more options. I'm just going to blend both of those into the crease up to the brow bone, and I'm using a rougher number 15 brush for these. For this. You can see those blend really seamlessly. I'm going to go in with just the orange shade now and add a little more warmth. On the left side, I'm going to use a combination of, let's do these two shades right here. And I'm going to use a rougher number 16 brush, very similar. So the oranges in here, the tones in here lean slightly more pink. So they're still warm, they're peachy, but they just have more peach than kind of some of the terracotta or yellow tones in the ABH palette. So if you're somebody who struggles to wear peachy tones, if you have like pink undertones in your skin, I think you would still love this. There are some beautiful kind of rosy shades like this one that is so pretty. I've really enjoyed this palette. So there we have it. We have both of those colors on the eye. I'll build up a little more with just this shade now. And again, I'm trying to keep these as even as possible as far as colors go. So that's why I'm choosing the colors I am. But all of these shades in here, the shades in here, I mean, there are lots of other options. So just keep in mind, I'm trying to keep the eyes similar because I gotta go somewhere today. All right, let's continue with that palette and let's darken up the outer corner. And I'm gonna go in with these two shades right here and just add a little depth here. Then I'll go in with this shade and the deepest one. So the deepest shade in this palette is not super dark, and it does have just a hint of some kind of plummy tones, which I love. I think it's so pretty. All right, and now let's go to the other side. And by the way, I was using the rougher number 1 brush. We're gonna go in to this shade right here, which has a little more brown than the darkest shade from the Dreamy Daisy palette, but it still works. And you can see, I mean, quite pigmented. So a little goes a long way. And then I'm gonna go back with our brush and our crease brush and just blend that out. And then on the left side, I'm gonna go back and just add a little more depth here with this darkest shade. Just right on the outer corner. Next, we're gonna go to the lid and I'm going to add a base underneath the powder shadow. On the left side, I'm using the Armani 44S. I love this shade. It's kind of a peachy shimmer shade. On the right side, I'm using a similar shade, definitely different texture. You'll see this is the new Danessa Myricks. These are the Color Fix sticks. And I'm going to use the shade number 2. So these do kind of come apart, but they come as a duo. So this one has a plum color on one end, and on this end, it has a beautiful kind of peachy foil shadow. And I'm going to, these glide on like butter. You can see, whoa, Nelly, lots. So these have glitter, like glitter particles. And I kind of want to leave this for a moment, go to the Armani one, and you can see a difference in the formulation. So this is a shimmer, but it is more of a a little more metallic, but it's a soft, like a soft shimmery metallic, if that makes sense. So there are no chunky particles in this. And I do find that the Armani one lasts longer on the lid, but the Danessa Myricks one, as long as you use a primer and if you add a little shadow on top, which is what I'm going to do, it does last well throughout the day. For this, I'm going to go in with this brighter shade here, and you'll see this is pretty gold. I'm just going to lightly tap this over it. So it's going to take down a little bit of the sparkle. You can always do this just to kind of tone it down. I'm not going to the New Year's Eve party today, so I don't need quite that much shimmer, but I love how that shadow looks underneath powder shadow. Next, on this side, I'm going to go into this, and I'm actually going to use a combination of these two. This one is more gold, but it has a little kind of a greeny shift. So I'm going to tap a little bit of this on. This would be beautiful on its own. But again, to match what I've got going on the other side, I love this shade right here. It is so brightening. Perfect inner corner highlight shade. And again, one that you can tell has a little bit of a pink shift to it. So beautiful on its own, but even better layered over a base. I'm going to touch this inner corner up just a little bit. We'll do it again later, but all right, we're pretty close. For eyeliner today, I really struggled to find two kind of newer liners in my collection that would match each other, and I couldn't find two that are the same color. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use the Hourglass Waterproof Gel Liner. This is in the shade Voyeur, and it's a beautiful plum shade. I have some thoughts on this though. And then on the lower lash line, I'm gonna use the Too Faced Killer Liner. This has been out a while, but this is new to me. And I have the shade Metallic Burgundy. So let's start on the lower lashes first. This has been super creamy. You do have to sharpen it, but I just think this shade is so pretty. It has some more reddish tones to it, so it's not a blue-based purple, it's reddish. So that is one thing that I love because it really brings out the color of especially green eyes. So this can make my eyes look more green than blue. And I find this to set and stay very well. So you have a little bit of working time, but not much. So it does dry down pretty quickly. Now the Hourglass one, I have had this for, maybe 5 months. I got this in May and I love the shade. I should show you the two shades. So here's this shade. Here is the Too Faced one, and both of these come in a lot of different colors. Do you see Metallic Burgundy? Isn't that so pretty? Here's my only thought, my only problem with this. I haven't had it that long, and I can already tell this is starting to get dried out, and look, it's it's released from the base. So that is disappointing. So even though when I first got this was like super creamy, it really reminded me of the Marc Jacobs eyeliners, if you remember those. But just like those eyeliners that came in this style packaging, I feel like they dry out so much quicker than a pencil. So yes, you have to use a pencil sharpener with the other pencils that, you gotta sharpen. But I personally think that that is the longest lasting type of eyeliner pencil or lip liner, same thing. I'm gonna use a E15 from Sigma just to kind of smudge out the tip of that. But I mean, these do set, they stay. This is so long wearing, both of these are, but if you are choosing between the two, I would definitely look more at the Too Faced ones. And the good news is those are cheaper. Going back to our eyeshadow palette, I'm going to use a little bit of this one. So this shade is so beautiful, but it has a little shimmer in it. So I'm going to use a little bit of this on the lower lash line just to kind of set down that liner there and just soften it a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with a combo of those two the one we used in the outer corner, and just use this to kind of soften that line just a little bit. All right, we'll clean up the edge in a moment. Let's go to the other side, the Dreamy Daisy palette. I'm gonna use this one here on the outer corner. And on the lower lashes, I'm actually gonna use a combination. I'll go in with a little bit of this shimmery pink shade, which is so pretty, and a little bit of this, and maybe that dark shade. Just trying to keep it similar to the other side. Yeah, I think that's close enough. Thankfully, my meeting has nothing to do with makeup, so the person I'm meeting with will not be examining my eye makeup to, see if I did it right. I don't care. All right, let me see here. Let's darken up this outer corner just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna try, let's see. Let's just try a little combo of those two here. Still looking pretty brown, but that's okay. We're just doing the best we can, right? It's gonna look slightly different, but that's okay. All right, let's clean up under the eyes and then we'll apply concealer. For concealer, this is a case of I love both of these. On the right side, I'm going to use Natasha Denona, but I'm only going to use a corrector shade. This is C3, and I've been shocked recently. I've been doing this, and this works just fine on its own. On the left side, I'm going to use the Tower 28 concealer. This is a new love for me. I think this is really beautiful, good coverage, hydrating. Both of these are hydrating, will not get dry and crackly under the eyes as long as you don't go nuts with your setting powder. So let's do the Natasha Denona here. And these colors are not going to start off looking the same at all. But in the end, I think you will see that somehow we end up with covered under eyes that match. The Tower 28, what shade is this? This is the shade Loho or El Ojo. I don't know. I'm not quite sure the theme of the names of the Tower 28 concealers, but I will list and link everything down below. So you can see this Natasha Denona has more peach, which is more correcting. This one has some peach. It's more of a neutral color, but it also has more of a skin tone base. And I'm just gonna blend both of those in with the BK Beauty A506 brush. Now on the Natasha Denona side, I am going to go back with just a hint of the foundation, just around the edge to blend that peachiness into the cheek there. Okay, on the Dior side, I'm just going to go over it with a clean BK Beauty brush and a teeny little bit of foundation just on the bristles, just to press that in and just kind of smooth out the sides before we go in with one more cream product, and then we're gonna do powder. On the right side, Natasha Denona side, I'm gonna go in with the Details by Tati, just the other side of that brush, and I'm just going to tap in, and I'm just going to add a teeny bit of extra coverage right here where I have some unevenness, and testing some more new skincare, and I'm finding, there's certain things that my skin just is not loving. So tap that in. All right, now in order to save time and keep this video from having a bazillion products, I'm only gonna do cream contour, and then we're gonna do powder, everything else. There are so many great liquid and cream blushes that have come out this year. I've got tons of videos. I'll link some of those down below if I have room in the description box. So for now, I want to do a side-by-side of two cream contour sticks that are very popular and very different price points. This is the Westman Atelier. This is just a limited edition mini. So this isn't even full size. This is the Too Faced Melting, Bronzing, and Sculpting Stick. There we go. And this is Chocolate Mousse. This is the famous shade Biscuit. And these are close enough in shades that I feel like I can use these. And I have to be honest, I have not understood what the big fuss is about the Westman Atelier contour stick. I do love the blush more than this contour stick. What I have found is this stick, if it's going over more of a matte foundation, it does not blend in as seamlessly as some of the others. So I'm just going to quickly tap this in, and even over this Natasha Denona, do you see? It's like, you kind of got to work quick. And this shade, granted, it's a little cool for my slightly tan skin, but I have not found this to just melt into the skin as easily as the Too Faced one. I feel like the Too Faced one, I've got plenty of time to work with it. I feel like it works well, and the tone is just slightly better. And I know this does come in several different shades as well, but there's so much more product in here. Forgot to do my nose contour on the other side. We'll do that in a moment. Had to reach over and grab a clean brush. I thought I had two of everything over here, but there's always something I forget. So this, I mean, same thing. I mean, I'm just tapping and it blends into the skin just fine. It gives you a little more, maybe a little more color payoff as well. But I mean, I feel like this looks better than this. Like this side just does not look quite as seamless. And I hesitate to add too much more because it is such a cool shade, but I'll add a teeny bit more and a teeny bit more here. So I really feel like this is a case where you can save your money and you'll be much happier. Yeah, okay, that's not getting better. We're just gonna leave it. And oh yeah, we gotta blend our nose contour. Let's blend these seamless or side by side and we'll just see. So this one's been sitting here for a while. It's on the more matte foundation side and it still just blends in. It doesn't disrupt the makeup underneath. I just think this is a great one. Now, two other contour sticks that I actually do love both of them, but this is the ABH one, Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is the Dior one. I do love them both, but I actually have reached for the ABH one just because I think the size makes it a little easier to use. This Dior one is huge, and so I can get out of control with it quick, but both of these are very nice. But I think the Too Faced one is perfect. Let's go for powder. On the left side, I'm going to be using this new Caliray powder. What is it? Magic Hour setting powder, and I'm using golden. On the right side of my face, I'm going to be using this YSL, it's a little dirty, the YSL, this is the All Hours Hyper Blur powder, and this is the shade number 2. So both of these have a little tint. But before I do it, I'm going to do something that I've been doing recently, is using a setting spray to set in my cream products first. So on the left side, I'm using this new one from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the setting spray matte blur. Over here, I'm using the Huda Beauty Easy Bake setting spray. And this also is supposed to mattify and blur. I already have some opinions, but let's apply both of them. Okay, so gotta shake them both. This one, the sprayer is not great. Let's see. We'll do 3. 3. And I always get a few large droplets when I do this one. The Charlotte Tilbury definitely wins on the sprayer. Similar thing. Much finer mist. And yesterday when I did this, I felt like as they sat down, the Charlotte Tilbury looked slightly more blurred, slightly more matte, and my setting powder did not cling weirdly. But I'm swapping setting powders today to see if it was the powder or the spray. So while that sets down, let's go ahead and set our under eyes. And of course, I have 2 setting powders to use. On the left side, I'm going to be using the new shade of the Laura Mercier brightening powder, and this one is Peach. On the right side, I'm going to be using the one size. This is the Ultra Peach, and I mean, size-wise, pretty big difference. The ingredients are different. This one is definitely a little bit heavier consistency, but I think as you'll see, as I set my under eyes, both are very similar in the brightening, in the color correcting, and I have actually enjoyed both of them. So let me apply first the Laura Mercier one. And now the One Size powder. And definitely upon application, I mean, the One Size has, again, a little thicker consistency, but it is also just slightly more blurring upon application. Now, I have used this all over my face and I actually like it. So I actually have enjoyed both of these. The Laura Mercier one is slightly lighter and a lighter weight. So, but I think either one of these I would recommend. Obviously, you're getting a lot more product here, but depending on how much blurring and how dry your skin is, I think the Laura Mercier one is a little more forgiving for dryness under the eyes. All right, on the face, let's go in now. The setting sprays have settled down, and interestingly enough, so right now, I mean, I do have powder here on the top of the cheek, so I think both of them look pretty similar. I don't feel like either one of them instantly mattifies your face. Okay, keep that in the back of your mind. Let's go in now with this Caloray. The packaging is okay. I like that it stays nice and neat. You know, you're not getting powder everywhere, but it just has one of those mesh things in there. And this is what the powder looks like. So it does have some color. So I'm hoping it's not going to add too much darkness to what we've got going on. I'm gonna pat this off. And now I'm just going to pat lightly over the skin. Yeah, I'm seeing what happened yesterday happen again. I'm seeing a little bit of some grabbing of that powder in certain sections on the face. And I was wondering if it was foundation, if it was setting spray, or is it the powder? And kind of feel like it's the powder, but we're gonna leave it. Let's go to the right side. We're gonna use the YSL blurring powder. It definitely has some immediate blurring, but I kind of feel like the blur goes away pretty quickly. But again, we're gonna see what happens with today's application over that Huda Easy Bake setting spray and over the Natasha Denona foundation. So as I am looking across my face, I don't know if it's showing on camera, but there are just some little like patches of grabbing. And this is why generally I don't like a powder that has any color in it, because it can grab certain sections if there's more moisture or if the foundation isn't quite set in those areas or something. It can kind of grab and look a little uneven. So we're going to keep our eye on that. Let's go to bronzer. All right, on my right side, I'm going to use this very popular Dior bronzer. I purchased this last spring. This is the Dior Forever Matte Bronzer. This is the nude one in 20 medium matte. This is a beautiful color. It's a large compact, but can you see what's happening here? This is hard pan, and I've already scraped this off once. I don't use this very often, and therefore I think this is a terrible waste of money. You're spending a lot of money for this product, and I just continue to have to scrape off some of that hard pan. And I don't know why, because I'm always applying this over a powdered face. So generally there isn't a lot of oil being transferred back in there. Let's go ahead and apply it. This is the Details by Tati brush. This is the ES1. And I do love the color, if you can get it on your brush, right? Okay, I love the color. This is highly fragranced. Oh my goodness. I just, as it's open, I'm like, oh my goodness. Really, really fragranced. Now, the other one I'm going to show you is fragranced as well, but this one, whoa, definitely takes the cake. So just be aware of that. And again, partly because I've got hard pan on a lot of the pan, it's taking quite a lot of layering, which it's not a bad thing. I don't mind getting to, control how I layer it. It is smoothing, looks beautiful on the skin, but there is something better. If you're going to spend this kind of money, let me show you what I would recommend instead. It is a bronzer that I have now had for almost, I think we're going on 2.5 years. This is the Gucci bronzer. It is also pricey, but this one, I mean, I have a divot. You can see, I love this bronzer. Similar as far as, I mean, now since I've had it a while, I actually don't even smell it anymore, but this bronzer also just provides the most beautiful blurred blended effect on the tops of the cheeks. I love this. This is the shade 3. I also have the shade 2. 2 is much cooler. I feel like this shade 3 is very comparable to the 20 medium matte from Dior. But this one is a bronzer shade. It's not a contour shade. I think it's gorgeous. The packaging is beautiful. You do get a lot of product, but you don't have to layer quite as much. And I have never had hard pan on this product. For blush, I have 2 that I love. So on each cheek, we're using favorites. You know, I've talked about these YSL blushes, and I've also shown the Tower 28 blushes. I think these are both great. They are different price points. Packaging, the win goes to YSL by far. This shade I'm going to use is number 37, and I own, I think, 4 or 5 of these blushes now because I love the formula so much. I'm going to apply this, and these are pigmented, but they blend seamlessly, and you don't need a lot of the product. Lasts very well through the day. So you're definitely getting your money's worth with these blushes. They are pricey, but one of my ultimate favorite shades is number 6. I think it's Rosewood. That is a gorgeous shade. Likewise, Tower 28. Now, Tower 28 is a clean beauty brand. They have better focus on ingredients, but this shade is Culver Crush. And this one has a little more pink than this one does, but we can get a similar look. Now, this blush is pretty pigmented. I only really need 1 tap in, tap off. You are gonna get some kick up in the pan, a lot less kick up with the YSL blushes, but all you just need to do is just tap your brush. Don't swirl, you'll be fine. And these also, I think these blend very beautifully. I've heard some people be critical, and I don't understand it. I think these are a great formula. I also have several shades. I think I bought 1 or 2 shades myself, and then they sent me several shades. I've really enjoyed them. So there are both blushes. These are matte. I think all of the Tower 28 ones are matte. The YSL blushes, they do have some in more of a satin formula as well. So if you want something with some glow, they have that option. So there we go. I'm gonna go back with the bronzer brush. Well, that was hard for me to say, on each side, just to kind of blend that in. Okay, let's go highlighter before we do brows. And on the left side, tried and true favorite. This is the Dior Universal Highlighting Palette. What is it? Backstage Glow Face Palette. This is Universal. And I have been loving this. Took me forever to take the plunge, but I'm glad I did. And now I have another one of the colorways on my wish list this time. I'm gonna go in with just this white shade today. Now, I have loved this highlighter, not only on the face, but on the eyes. I've done a video where I was using kind of fewer products and I was multitasking with this, and it makes a beautiful eye combo as well. And it is formulated for use on the face or the eyes. Very important. On the right side, I am using this brand new highlighter from NARS. This is just a mini. I got this as a free gift with purchase. This is the shade Eros Light Reflecting Luminizing Powder. I'm not as big of a fan of this one. Now, in swatching it, it's really pretty. And in fact, let's go ahead and put it on the inner corner of the eye. I forgot I was gonna do that with the other Dior palette. So it's really pretty, but I do feel like, let's get it on the face. I'm using a Ravi Beauty brush for this one. What is this? The blush brush. And the other side I used the Buzzy Beauty. So I'm going to just lightly put this on. Okay. So, I mean, I'm going in with a light hand. I'm trying to stay on the top of my cheek where I have less texture, but I see visible shimmer particles here. I do not see visible shimmer here. I just see light. And I'm not sure how Dior did that, but somehow they gave us a really nice brightening shimmery shade, but it just melts into the skin much better. So I'm gonna put that on the inner corner, and you can see this, the shade wise, the NARS one is beautiful, but the Dior one is just a little more forgiving. And yes, this palette is expensive, but you're getting 4 shades. I know this one's not cheap in the full size either. So this is a case where this Dior definitely wins. I'm just going to quickly fill in my brows. I only have one brow pencil that is sold at Sephora. So this is the Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. I do love this. This is a favorite. I'm using the shade 3.5. So I'm gonna do this quickly. And then I do have 2 brow gels to compare. Okay, I gotta hurry up. My meeting is about to start. All right, on the right side, I'm using the Benefit Precisely My Brow Gel, and this is the shade 2.5. I do love this. It's been a good one. I hadn't reached for it in quite a while, but when I was thinking of a comparable product to the one I'm gonna use on the left, this came to mind. This has more of a waxy texture, but it does kind of coat and fluff out the brows nicely, just like the Kosas Air Fluff Brow Gel. This is the shade Taupe. I have actually preferred this one a little bit more recently using it. I feel like this has maybe a little more of some fibers in it, perhaps, but both of them are good. But yes, my current favorite between these two has been the Kosas one. Let's go quickly to mascara. Curl the lashes. Today I'm using the same mascara, but 2 different eyelash primers because I have a new favorite. So on the right side, I'm using what has been my favorite at Sephora for quite a long time. This is the Dior. This is now 4D Lash Serum and Primer. I do love this primer still, and I do love the lash growth serum benefits that we get with it. And I think it still does a great job, but I have a new favorite. It's one that came out this year, and I will show you that one on the other side. Now on both sides, I'm going to use a new favorite mascara that I have been loving from Sephora. It is from Tower 28, and they actually have a duo mascara for the holidays, special holiday set. It comes with a brown and a black. So I'm gonna use the brown on the lower lashes with no primer and the black on my upper lashes. So while I let that primer sit for just a minute to become a little tacky, let's apply the brown mascara here. And now we'll go in with the black on the top. And this is the Making Waves mascara. I do love the wand. And even though generally I prefer a more kind of natural bristle brush, the bristles on here, the plastic bristles, they are not pokey, they don't hurt, and they really grab every lash just so nicely. And this formula does not smudge on me. I get a few little flakes if I have to mess with my contact, but otherwise it stays in place all day, wears well. It's a slightly drier formula, but not so dry that it's hard to or clumpy. On the left side, I'm using my new favorite, but this is just a mini because I need to restock this myself. This is the Tarte Tubing Primer Mascara. So I love this. I went through a whole tube of it, and it's on my list to purchase during the sale. It does help with smudging. So if you have issues with your mascara smudging, it's supposed to turn your mascara that you put on top of it into a tubing mascara. I don't really find that to be the case, but I do feel like this just provides a little more volume immediately to the mascara you put on top of it. And I've used this with lots of different mascaras. Again, I'm using a primer, and this is a brand new one. So I feel like every time you use it, you get a little more product. But do you see how much product is on there? But it's a good thing because it grabs the mascara that you put on top. Now, just like I did over here, I'm going to quickly apply the brown mascara. And you do want to apply the mascara on top of it before it fully dries. That is important with all primer mascaras. Don't let anybody tell you to wait until they're dry and crispy, because that is not going to be helpful when you're applying the mascara over the top of it. So you do want it to be slightly tacky, but you don't want it to be completely dry. Okay, let's examine the lips, and then I'm going to go do my hair, get dressed, and we'll come back and finish up with a lip combo. So examining the lips, the Charlotte Tilbury, definitely you've got a little more of the slight tingle. It's not painful, but you don't feel the Ole Henriksen at all. As far as plumpness and kind of smoothness, maybe there's a little more plump going on this side. Let's wipe it off and see. More glitter left behind on this side for sure. And, you know, all in all, I think they look pretty even. They feel, the Ole Henriksen feels better because we didn't have that tingle. There's still a little tingle here. All in all, I find them to be pretty comparable. I think for me personally, I mean, I love the packaging of the Charlotte one, but let's be real. If you want something that's just about plumping and hydrating the lips, the Ole one probably is the winner. All right, hair is done. The final step is lips, and I have 2 lip staining products. The lip stains are all the rage, so I thought this would be an appropriate choice. So on the left side, I'm going to use the Benetint from Benefit, and this is in the dark cherry shade. This is a little tricky to do, but I'm going to attempt to apply this to just half of my lips. Now this one truly does set down and stain the lips quickly. It dries, it will dry and stain your finger, but I'm learning how to apply it. Even though it looks a little messy, we will go in with lip liner after. I've been struggling myself trying to figure out the correct order, and since I tried doing this method, it's worked better. So lip stain first, we'll blot off, then we'll go in with lip liner. On the right side, I'm using this one from Kulfi. I believe this is pretty new. They just sent this to me, and it is the Staining Lip Oil. So you're gonna see this is a different type of product. So this one has dried down, and it's a pretty matte finish. This one has a beautiful shine to it, and this is the shade First Sorry. So you can see there, and this gloss will actually stay on there. So I'll show you in a moment what it looks like after you tap it off. But I have really enjoyed this lip oil stain. It does have that nice shine versus the Benetint does not. What I found with this one also is it's a little easier to get a smooth application. Sometimes the Benetint, I feel like it grabs differently in different areas of the lips, and therefore I always want to put a gloss over this one. So now let me show you. So what you want to do is you do want to blot off your lip stain, anything that remains. And you can see the Benetint side, there is nothing that came off. Clearly on this side, we lost all of that gloss, so some color came off, but we still have stain left. So on the right side, I'm going to use this Sephora. These are the new 8-hour colorful transfer-proof lip liners. This is the shade Rosewood Mood. I love this lip liner. On the left side, I'm going to use another favorite that I have come to really enjoy, and these are from Merit. And these have a different texture. These have actually more of a glossy shine to them, and this is the shade Coupe. I also love Mayfair, another favorite, but this one kind of matched a little better. And for this one, because I'm going to want to match the gloss on this side, I'm going to actually fill in a little bit with this. And these lip liners will set down and stay throughout the day, especially on top of that stain. Now on the right side, you can see that that lip liner added a little gloss. So we're gonna add now a little bit of the Kulfi. So if you were using this all over your lips, you just go over the whole lip, obviously. And there you have it. So the shine will definitely eventually wear away, but you're still going to have the stain. I have enjoyed both of these, but this one newer, I plan to pick up another shade in this formula. So there you have it. We've got two sides, similar style of products, but hopefully today's video gave you a better idea of some that might be a better choice over others. The eyeshadow palettes are both winners. I think the bronzers, however, I think the Gucci is a clear choice, not worth your money. And the foundation, I just continue to struggle with the Natasha Denona foundation for the whole day wear. Right now it looks fine. It'll look fine for several hours, but at the end of the day, generally I am liking how the Dior foundation performs better than the Natasha Denona. Powders wise, I need to do a little more testing with the Caloray, but the few times that I've used it, I haven't felt like it's stayed great throughout the day. And same with the YSL blurring powder. Something that I would recommend instead of those two would be the Makeup Forever the Ultra HD Micro Loose Finishing Powder, although they did apparently reformulate it. I hope it's the same, but this powder stays blurred throughout the day. So, and then we have the blush, we have the lips, we have the mascaras, the primers, all of that. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. As always, I will list and link everything that I can in the description box down below. We are limited of how many products we can list down there. But if I run out of room, I will not list the things that I would not recommend. I will also try and list all the information about the upcoming Sephora sale. So if you're watching this in that time frame, hopefully I've given you some good options to shop for. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.